Welcome to the Bold Analysis today, the 9th of January 2025. The challenge of where are you watching from is interesting, and I want to say big shout out to my leading diaspora audience is in US. That's the number one. The number two is Germany. In Kenya, my numbers are leading in Nairobi, Murang'a coming second. Very interesting observation there. Thank you very much, guys, for supporting the Bold. Once an ODM party, the party that bragged as the leading defender of democracy and justice in Kenya, is dying slowly. So sad. The founding fathers of this party, if they were to resurrect today and see what's happening, I think they will be so much disappointed. The party is split into camps on as different politicians rush to cut a cake from the broad-based arrangement, oblivious of what is coming tomorrow. In an interesting turn of events, ODM-UDA merger narrative is being pushed by a section of the party, and is turning out as a poison chalice. The statement by ODM Secretary General Sifuna just 2 days ago is allegedly irritated William Ruto's team, who are now calling on Raila to tame his troops otherwise. Today, Ogenda was in Citizen TV in the morning, and here he outlines what he believes should be the ODM direction.
I think the coalition agreement may include a possibility of having a deputy president from ODM. I think then we can have position shared between ODM and UDA for 2027.
What happens if
that will be working? That will be Professor Kithure Kindiki, of course, is squarely in government. I think that will be a negotiation that will happen at the point, because there are various. Government is big, Trevor, and there'll be arrangements that will work around, and they can deal with.
So who in ODM now that you're in the prediction mode?
No. Let me tell you this: 2027 is a different ballgame. UDA, ODM will form a coalition. They'll agree on the structure.
Ogenda, the Kisumu senator, represents the former Raila rebel camp, who were they originally with Ruto. They went to support Kenya Kwanza before even Raila Odinga team joined. And I think they're the voices that sometimes, if they're the fellows that are leading this move, then I'm not sure. I don't see such a merger going on. Remember, the interest of Kisumu senator is to vie for the Kisumu gubernatorial seat. And since he understands the dynamics of Nyanza politics with ODM, it will be a blessings on this guys for him if ODM and UDA are together. Because I think Ogenda understands well that he cannot be able to wrestle the ODM party ticket from the likes of Adipo Kwumi and the senior politicians within the ODM rank and file in Kisumu. He's actually an outsider within the ODM ranks, and I'm very sure at an opportune time, he does not sit well, does not sit comfortable to get the ODM seat. And there is something I need to know. One thing I know is, within the ODM, you can always be forgiven. You come back. But at the right time, they will always revisit. It is not in the interest of the Kisumu senator for ODM to form government in 2027 next. On how such is going development for the people. It is in his interest to secure the Kisumu governor's seat in 2027. They, however, believe, this camp by Ogenda believe, that Ruto's deep state power with that Raila endorsement is enough to retain power. But far from it. The camp I'm so much interested in is the camp that is led by my governor, James Orengo, Nyon'go. And this camp is where Babu Owino and Sifuna belongs. Sifuna spoke and told the Kenya Kwanza, and he's saying something, that I think ODM really needs to get.
Joint government will be what?
Yes,
within ODM, there's people like Ojienda who are fixated with power sharing. Everything he talks about is just who will be what and who will get what.
In all fairness, Ojienda mentioned it here before even the broad-based government happened.
I understand that. I am telling you that there are those of us who are fixated on power. There are those of us who are fixated on fixing this country. And there's a distinction. And I have not said that it is not possible. But I have said in the past, we need to learn from the mistakes we made in the past. One of the things that I have learned in the past, I'm beginning my 8th year as SG in February of this party. One of the things we've learned in the past is that we have a responsibility to advise our leaders. And the beauty with the party leader, Raila Odinga, is that he always falls back to his troops to advise him. And he listens to the advice. The advice that we failed to give in 2018-2022 was that you are associating with a government that was extremely unpopular and that we were going to end up carrying the burden of incumbency when indeed it was not our government. This is the exact same situation that we find ourselves in. But the responsibility on the people who believe in ODM, who believe in the values of this party, is to not make the same mistake we made last time by keeping quiet and saying, oh, let us just keep quiet, this thing will work out. It did not work out. We are not going to make the same mistake. We have a responsibility to say, and I've said it here, it doesn't matter if you are not performing as an incumbent, if you are doing the things that this government is doing, it doesn't matter who supports you. You will still come up short. And I've given you the example of what we did last election. We had a coalition of 26 political parties, including a sitting president. We still came up short, Trevor, because we did not address the issues of the people. And the incumbency, the presidency, all those things that were happening, including the body showing up in Rivayala, the state of the economy, the demolitions, all of those things, we ended up carrying that burden. And I'm telling you, for as long as I'm SG of ODM, I am sworn to give proper advice to my party leader. I cannot go to Bungoma and be told by the people who supported Ruto that they no longer see him as somebody they can support. Then I come and report the opposite. Okay. I am not helping my party leader.
Should your party insist that this is the direction we're taking, what happens?
We will cross that bridge when we get there. I can tell you for a fact, Trevor, at the end of the day, my responsibility is to put things on record so that history can record that I warned that this is something that would still hurt us as a political entity. And honestly speaking, if you look at the political dynamics in the country right now, it would be very foolish for ODM not to field a presidential candidate. It would be extremely foolish.
That in Azimio, they had 26 constituent parties. But in 2022, they carried the burden of incumbency that Uhuru Kenyatta had. They seem to be repeating the same mistake now. And Sifuna is speaking on behalf of that team, that even if ODM makes an alliance with Ruto, there is no guarantee of them forming the next government. Kenyans must rise against that tyrant, about those tyrants. Oh, sometimes when you listen to the likes of Sifuna, you just hope Otieno Kajwang was alive. You know, we grew up in the early 2010. By that time, I think I was in secondary school, then I made transition to university and all that. You know, when you could hear the voice of Otieno Kajwang speaking in a rally, we are told these are the fellows that will call Raila in the midnight and tell Raila, Woda Joma, that one we are not doing. And the next morning you will see Raila not making that turn. So those are the fellows that, and now, of course, because of natural injustice, Otieno Kajwang is not with us. So I think Raila must stop listening to the camp I'm going to show you next. and listen to Orengo and the Nyon'go, the team that can look beyond and say, this is not right. And Nyon'go said, and he told Raila Odinga that the party risks dying, and if the best thing they can do, they should move a popular resistance against William Ruto's oppressive politics. And remember when Babu said that I respect Baba, but I cannot join William Ruto. Yes. Sometimes in politics, it is cool to have a stand. I know not so much insecure because politicians use political parties as their insurance. I insure my candidature through the party. But it has also been proven that the people can be your insurer. Yes. The masses can be your insurer. And the best example is Raila Odinga. What has maintained Raila Odinga in the political circle is the touch with the people. So Raila has called for some critical meeting with the ODM party to look into this, and we are going to look more into that. But before we look at it, I wanted to bring to you the third camp. This third camp has Opondo Kaluma, Junet, Atandi, and that is the team choir master. This team, something happened. After ODM nominated 5 of its members to the cabinet, there are a clique of MPs that went now to create centers of influence around those cabinet secretaries. They are strategically placed around those cabinet members, and their only benefit they get is personal fortunes. Tender here, job for my wife there, a trip with the president where, a trip with the CS, attending some function, and, Now this group, the Kajwang team, they're the ones that preach and say that for so long, and it's rightfully so, that for so long, ODM has been playing the politics of opposition. And there is this cheap narrative that, we didn't elect Ruto, so we cannot oppose him. we didn't elect Ruto, we cannot oppose him. And the question here is, was your role to support him? Okay? Now that team is pushing for status quo so that they can continue feasting. The termites can continue feasting. And I have no problem that probably some people are benefiting. These fellows are not even talking about development for the people. I'm yet to see my MP. I'm yet to see Opondo Kaluma attending a function with the president and telling the president, Rais, ile barabara yetu kutoka hapa hadi hapa nimeongea na waziri blah blah. I'm yet to see that. These are the fellows that are just wheel dealers. And whatever happens beyond 2027 is not their problem. Or whatever happens, it's not their problem. Their only issue is we continue feasting. Now, Raila Odinga is reported to have called a critical meeting with the ODM Supremo to chart the political path post-AUC elections, which is going to happen on 26th February. And this should be the turning point. So I want us to look at this critical meeting, because these camps have their different stands, different priorities, and things they're pushing. And if Raila is not very keen, some of us don't want to buy this, especially those who really fancy ODM like us. I'm a life member of ODM, by the way. Yes, I'm a member of ODM. Yeah. So eti nini? The broad-based is not, this broad-based, you know, the environment around the broad-based is not ODM. That is not Raila. That is cosmetic. That is looking some forced marriage that is just hanging on, a marriage whose divorce papers are just hanging, sitting somewhere with the lawyer, waiting for divorce to be activated. Now, which are some of the options that Raila team are exploring post-AUC? Remember that election is going to be a turning point for some reasons, because the government is already putting a stand and they're already putting machinery, as well it is money or it is aspect. The president is really was in Ghana, then went to Angola saying, I'm campaigning for Raila. So, and William Ruto's plan with Raila Odinga is simple. I just want to get Raila Odinga out of 2027 elections. I'm done. I just want to make sure that Raila Odinga is not on ballot. I can tell you that. Whatever it takes, that is what the President Ruto wants. Raila is not in ballot, and Raila's voice is not in 2027. So what are some of the options that ODM is exploring post-AUC elections? The first option is disassociate with the Ruto regime after 26th, irrespective of the outcome. Whether Raila wins it or Raila loses it. Of course, if he loses it, it's easy to make the transition, say, we were conned. It move with the masses. You know, Raila has a way of coming back. He has that latitude. You know, with his age, his experience in politics and all this, he has the latitude of coming back. Or even if you win, you still say, yes, he's a Kenyan candidate, he has won, just like any other Kenyan can win. And of course, because of his capacity, you can also not just say he has won because of state support. Even though we need to acknowledge and appreciate the fact that Raila really need full backing of the Ruto regime to put up a good contest in February. Of course, that one we acknowledge. We cannot say it's not possible. So, what is the advantage of disassociating? The advantage of disassociating is to, of course, to shed the narrative that there is something hanging in Raila's court. There is a narrative hanging in Raila's court that you sacrificed the Gen Z so that you could get money to go and get the support of government to go for AUC. So you sacrificed a huge social movement for individual cause. So if he disassociates, that would be a good turning point. The second option is fence sitting to observe Ruto turnaround in 2025, then make move later. This one I don't support. This is what Kalonzo does. In fact, not being biased. Rigathi, to me, is more thorough, is more objective, and he looks focused on something. Oh, I need to go thorough on Kalonzo. Kalonzo has been running this politics of fence sitting. Then last minute, you start looking for saying, I must be the running mate. I must be, I must be the candidate. For now, as things, look at what Rigathi is doing in Wamunyoro. He's holding meetings with leaders from different parts of Mount Kenya and is consolidating and sharing. I'm not seeing Kalonzo looking a bit more organized. Apart from these press briefings in front of High Court, after going there as a lawyer, and some few statements in some funerals and church services, I'm not seeing an organized Kalonzo. Oh, I have a bone to chew with Steve. Now, I don't buy fence sitting because too late. From the word go in 2022, Raila knew in 2018, even by the time it was the 9th March, they're having handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta, he knew he was going to be on ballot. But he did fence sitting for 2 years. Saying, I'm just supporting Azimio just for that BBA. Then immediately the BBA collapsed, He knew he was supporting, he wanted to use BBI, akipata, then a form euphoria and now vai, which failed. Then after BBI, then he came up, made the Damascus moment. Now I have to vie. So it will be too late, because don't underestimate regarding Eugene Kalonzo axis. It's also a formidable axis. It might be too late. And the reason why I don't like fence sitting is when you fence sit, then you join later, you are not going to be strong in the bargain. Number 3, ODM party to run a parallel presidential campaign against KK. If you ask me, this is what they should do. Irrespective of who is the candidate, they should actually run a parallel, a different one. Then later, you choose to go with Ruto or support the anti-Ruto movement. Why I like running a parallel one, you have the possibility of, ODM has a huge machinery. You will activate your machinery. Then as Kalonzo and Rigathi are also pushing their front, ODM also says, we are going to vie for presidency and probably our candidate is person X and we are moving and these are our activities. From that point, you're also giving Kenyans an option. So that if you choose to support Ruto, you'll be sure that I have my numbers, I'm coming with it. If you choose to move to stand with Kenyans and the movement that is saying Ruto is the enemy, you will still be in the front seat. The idea of ODM-UDM merger is also here, post that election. What is the challenge with it? ODM will be swallowed. Look at what has happened to Ford Kenya and ANC. Look at what has happened to them. And let me tell you, if someone makes this mistake, Ruto forms government 2027, succession politics starts, and it starts by number 1, we want to give you cabinet slots, but first fold that ODM party. Where is PA for Alfred Mutua? Where is it powers for Kingi? Where is Chap Chap for Alfred Mutua? Where is that Moses Kuria's kiosk? Where is that TSP for Mwangi Kiunjuri? Where is to the Bebe wa Kenya party for Kaboko? Those fringe parties that were in Kenya, where are they? They picked where is even Fort Kenya? Fort Kenya is within Wetangula's village. ANC is even dead. I don't even know whether ANC has a secretary general. Oh, the secretary general was consumed, went to State House. I don't know. You will pick the party leader of ODM, and that party leader will be picked to cabinet and told, you are going to cabinet. Hii position party leader nanga pesa, wewe funga hiyo party. That is going to end ODM. Lastly, join anti-Ruto movement immediately so that you start regime change. There are only 2 options for ODM. The turning point after those, irrespective of those elections, you have 2 options. Run a parallel presidential campaign against Kenya Kwanza, or come out clearly and join anti-Ruto camp. Kalonzo is still there. Okiya Mtata I'm seeing him doing some branding. The Gen Zs are out here. Rigathi Gachagua is out there. You have so many options so that you start early, and I know Ruto will not be happy with that because without Raila, hata hiyo 2027 inaweza kuwa mbali. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's my take. You can also tell me what you think. That is my analysis on this. I've really tried to put up those options together. You can also tell us what do you think should be the best option for the party. Thank you.